Jets fans, I want to say this clearly. If Breece Hall walks in free agency, they will be making the same mistake they've been making for years. Let's talk about it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Jets Talk Now. I am Paul Fiore. Happy Sunday. Please click like and subscribe. We are well over 2,000 subscribers now on the channel. I really do appreciate all of the support, engagement, comments, agreements and disagreements. It's been a lot of fun, and we are now officially getting close to a very important part of the offseason here with free agency, combine, and draft. And so, it's been a bit of a dead period. But right now we are in a kind of crucial point for this organization. And really the biggest topic, I think, at the moment is what are the Jets going to do with Breece Hall? I have a very, very strong opinion on this. And I think it's hard to tell because social media is very difficult to gauge. You can run polls, but it's still who's on social media and who's not, to determine where a fan base sits on certain things. I do think this is like a 70-30 issue within the fan base, but I could be wrong. But the 30% is pretty vocal. And it's really centered around whether the Jets should keep or let Breece go. Now, Breece Hall has been with the Jets for 4 years. And obviously his first season as a rookie, we watched that and saw someone that we all thought was going to be, a transcendent running back, the likes of Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson. And unfortunately, injuries have limited that upside. That doesn't mean Breece Hall is not a good player, because he is. He's actually a very, very good player. And he's been a very productive player for the Jets, and we'll go through that today. But even with his production, we have a decision to make as a franchise. And I think that decision, truthfully, I believe was made last year during the trade deadline. The Jets had, by all reports, on the table a trade offer for a 4th-round pick for Breece Hall, and I think many people believe that was the Kansas City Chiefs. The Jets wanted to hold out, at least it's been reported, for a 3rd-round pick. They chose not to do the deal, and after the trade deadline, Muji and Aaron Glenn continually restated their belief that Breece Hall is an important part of this team. At the end of the season, Muji said again, Breece is a good player. We want. A lot of those things make you believe the Jets will do everything they can to keep Breece Hall. Now, the interesting part is it is their choice. This is not a question of whether they can or can't keep Breece Hall. They have almost $80 million in cap room. They have the ability to franchise tag him or transition tag him, which gives them, on a transition tag, first right of refusal on any offer he receives. And in a franchise tag, if they really want to be, they could do the exclusive franchise tag, which essentially means he's not going anywhere. And, those tags are anywhere between 14. I think the franchise tag is a little over 14 million and the transition tags at 11.7, 11.8 million, right? Just yesterday, we saw Dallas re-sign Williams to a 3-year contract, $24 million, $17 million of which is guaranteed. So the Jets have yet to do anything with regard to Breece Hall. And so all we see right now are reports, and who knows how accurate these reports are or not, because we know the Jets have not been very leaky. And we also have Breece's interview yesterday that he did with the New York Post at an event on Long Island. And, people react to everything today. It's the world of social media. We react to things. I have a tendency to do that. Obviously, our fan base does. And the initial reaction to Breece, there was just the comments and no video. And those comments were posted and people were like, does this sound like a guy who wants to be a Jet? Because they asked him about his long-term future with the New York Jets. And, if you just read the comment, it comes across as very non-committal and borderline, he doesn't want to be here. But then you watch the video and what you see is, I think, a complete non-story. Like, Breece Hall saying he is where his feet are. He believes he'll get what he deserves and that he's going to let his agent take care of this, is him basically saying, look, and then he said he wants to play for a winner. Okay, so everyone's like, well, that's not the Jets. He wants to leave because he's had, 4 losing seasons here. Okay. If the stance is he wants to play for a winner and the Jets aren't winning, so he doesn't want to be here, I want to understand what player doesn't want to play for a winner. What player doesn't want to play for a championship? If you show me a player that just wants to get paid and doesn't want to win, I will show you a player that I don't want on the football team. So for you to react to the concept that he wants to play for a winning team as a way to say he doesn't want to be a Jet is just overreacting to the comment. He will come here and stay here if they tag him or if they work out a long-term deal that makes sense for him and pays him what his market is. Now, is he frustrated? I'm sure he's frustrated. Do I find some of his commentary on social media frustrating myself? Of course. He is a football player on the team that I root for and sometimes comes across as someone who doesn't want to be here. Now, he's never outwardly said that. There's been rumors that he's asked for a trade, but it never came out that way. And I will say this very clearly. If you want to give Breece Hall a hard time about this, then why are we not saying the same about Garrett before he got his extension? Do we not remember how Garrett Wilson was extremely frustrated the year that he played with Aaron Rodgers, even though he got tons of targets and had, over 1,000 yards receiving? But it was put out there that, he did not like playing with Aaron because of Devontae and they didn't get along well. And that if they kept Rodgers, then the Jets would likely have to deal with Garrett asking for a trade. I mean, he was definitely positioning himself in a way that he didn't want to be part of the organization. What happened? He got his big contract extension and now he's Mr. Jet. And everyone loves Garrett but he also got the quarterback he wanted, right? You don't think he didn't have a say in wanting Justin Fields? So my point is, when you have really talented football players and you're a team devoid of talent on both sides of the ball, if they are not past their prime or about to enter the decline of their career, it behooves you as a franchise to figure it out and keep those players and not create yet another hole. The Jets are loaded with holes right now. They are filled with them. I mean, you can build a boat with the amount of holes the Jets have, or you can sink a boat with the amount of, I should say you could sink a boat with the amount of holes the Jets have. And it's going to take 2 years at least to fill those holes. So why create another one by moving on from Breece? Yes, there's some free agent running backs out there. But if you're worried about Breece not wanting to be a Jet because of all the losing, how much money will you have to overpay a free agent running back to bring over here? What's going to be that number versus what it would cost to transition tag Breece? And how many people are going to offer Breece a better deal than $11.7 or $11.8 million on a 1-year deal? The Jets have $80 million in cap space. At the least, they should transition tag him. They can still trade him at the deadline if either he's a malcontent or the season's going poorly. So to me, that doesn't make any sense not to do, because you still retain the right to trade him if need be. That's number one. Number two, looking at the Williams contract, I say, well, why wouldn't you try to get him on a 3-year deal for like $30 million, 22 million of it guaranteed? He's going to be 25 years old. He's not going to be 28. He's coming off a 1,000-yard rushing season. And everyone's going to be like, well, his numbers are this, his numbers are that. Look, I pulled it for everybody. Okay. Over the last 3 years, since 2023, combined rushing and receiving total yards, here are your top 10 running backs. Yeah, Breece Hall is not a top 5 back. We know this, okay? Bijan Robinson, Derrick Henry, Gibbs, Saquon, Cook, your top 5. McCaffrey, due to injury, is 6. He'd be right up there. But then you got Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams, and Breece is 9. And he's barely 9, okay? He could easily be in the top 5 I think we all would agree, if the Jets were better offensively in general. In the same period of time, look at the Jets offense. They're the fourth worst offense in the NFL over the last 3 years, averaging 18.7 points a game, only better than Tennessee, Carolina, and the Raiders, right? So, when I see things like this, and then I hear people talk about Breece being underwhelming as a running back, there's context in this. Do we believe over the last 3 years, with Zach Wilson as his quarterback, right? Aaron Rodgers coming off of the Achilles and throwing the ball, how many times a game, right? Offensively, they were not running the ball often. And Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor, and Brady Cook, that he's had a legitimate shot to be the bell cow running back and be utilized properly in this offense. How many people really believe that? Like, if you are a fan of this team, the last 3 years, have you watched this offense honestly and said, man, they are using Breece exactly how he should be used? No. How many times do we watch when Hackett was running the offense, they had Breece Hall running right into the line of scrimmage, when Breece Hall's secret weapon is being out in space and being able to make guys miss or catching balls out of the backfield? How often did we see them use running back screens to Breece or have him coming out of the backfield and being the dump off where he can go and pick up 15, 20, 25 yards? There were flashes of it when he was with Rodgers, flashes of it. This past year, you had the worst quarterback room in the league. He rushed for over 1,000 yards. Yeah, it wasn't amazing, but it was still a good season. He is not a top 3, top 4 running back, but you're not going to pay him that way. Can he be a top 6 back in the league? Yeah. And if you don't keep him, what is your answer? You have $79 million in cap space. Do you think you're going to sign any one of these free agents on a 1-year deal? You're not. You don't think you're going to pay a Jets tax? You will. Why would they come here? They have no history with this organization. You have a coach that's potentially on the hot seat with an entirely new coaching staff. Now, Breece Hall, if you say to him, hey, Breece, we have Frank Reich in here now. He is committed to making his playmakers the focal point of this offense. Garrett's going to get the ball. But when we run the ball and we're going to feature the running game, you're our guy. Like, do we believe Braylon Allen coming off his injury is going to all of a sudden be able to be this? Look, we like Braylon Allen in theory, but what has he actually done so far in the league? Nothing. Isaiah Davis, okay, he's okay. But you would have to either draft a running back, which because you're creating a hole by getting rid of Breece, or sign one of these guys as a free agent. When you can bring Breece back at worst on the transition tag, at best a 3-year deal, $10, $11 million a year, if he's willing to sign it, and you get your age 25 and 26 seasons out of him where he'll still be in his prime, hopefully with an offense that's improved. And if you get a rookie quarterback in the next 2 years, he makes his life 1,000 times easier. But we have to just stop saying he's not been that good. He's been fine. He hasn't been utilized the right way. He just hasn't. Does he mope? Yes. Does he frustrate? 100% he frustrates. But again, if I'm Aaron Glenn, and if Aaron Glenn has as much power as we believe he has, as we're led to believe he has, him and Muji sit with Breece and his agent, be like, look, we want you to be one of our most important weapons on this team, and we're going to improve over the next 2 years. It may not be pretty in 2026. We have to figure out the quarterback situation. But we're going to get a wide receiver too, okay? We're going to feature Garrett and you on the offense. We're going to make sure you get balls out of the backfield and become a weapon in the passing game. And Isaiah Davis and Braylon Allen, those are our change-up backs. But you're going to be the guy, right? We're going to get you the ball 20, 25 times a game carrying the football. We're going to find targets. You're going to be our second or third leading receiver on offense. I think there's a world where that makes sense. And Breece is like, yeah, I'm in. And then when you've got him there, you say, Breece, we want you to be one of the guys. But with that comes a responsibility to be a leader here. That doesn't mean you need to be a vocal leader, but say the right things, do the right things, and let's try and stay off of social media in a positive way. And you know what? You might think that that's not possible. Garrett Wilson in 2025 was a completely different guy than he was in 2024. Arguably in a worse situation. It's not arguably. He was in a worse situation in 2025 than he was in 2024. He had a better year. He obviously didn't get hurt, but he had he had the most targets. He had over 1,000 yards receiving. He had highlight touchdown plays, right? Garrett had a really, really good year in 2024 and was not happy and expressed that unhappiness consistently. What happened in 2025? They were worse. The offense was worse. It just was. Garrett was the consummate professional. He was Mr. Jet. What happened? You don't think they paid him and said, hey, man, you're the face of the franchise now. We need you to act like it. 100%. So I don't buy this crap. Like, you can't pay Breece Hall because he's a running back. If he was $20 million a year, then yeah, 100%. Paying him $10, $11 million, $11.5 million a year for 2 years guaranteed so you can get your quarterback situation set up, not create another hole, and fill important positions with draft capital that you've acquired over the last year for the next 2 years is way more important than worrying about, is Breece Hall unhappy? Breece Hall will change completely if you give him a 3-year contract, 2 years guaranteed. I promise you. Breece Hall, if you told him, I need you to be a different guy on social media and be the right guy and be positive and all that stuff, it would happen. Now, does it need to be said to him? Yeah, it does. But it needed to be said to Garrett. And by the way, it needed to be said to Sauce. And Sauce, before he got traded, was fine. He was better on social media too. So again, that's just the world we live in 2026. These guys have an outlet. They express it on social media. You hope that with coaching and good conversations and a commitment to them financially, you can get them to be more on your side and be positive. But again, I will go back to this. He is a top 10 running back in the league since 2023. You don't just let those guys go for nothing. You don't. Okay? It's not smart. How many times have we sat here and watched the Jets let guys go who were really good football players who didn't get a second contract with them? We've complained about it forever. So letting Breece walk now, after you could have traded him during the trade deadline in 2025, is repeating the exact same mistakes that they've repeatedly done year after year after year, right? And yeah, I know we won 3 games with him, 5 games with him, 7 games with him. So losing him, what does it matter? You're trying to build something foundationally, and you also try to set kind of a precedent within the league that you're going to take care of the players that are good players for you. And I will say this, Breece Hall was our best offensive player last year. And he likely will be our best offensive player because he's a dual threat between receiving and rushing. If he was 27, 28, I might feel differently. He's 24. He's going into his age 25 season. You are not stacked as a team. Bring Breece back. And if you bring him back and he's a malcontent and he's difficult and the season going where you want him to go, you could always trade him at the deadline again in 26. He will have value in this market. We know what you get with Breece Hall. He is not a top 3 running back, but with the right scheme and the right opportunity, he could be a top 5, top 6 running back in the league. Anyway, please comment below. I'm curious. I've posted polls about this. I see it as a 70-30 issue that most people want Breece back, not creating another hole. But that 30%, super, super vocal. So I'd love to hear what you have to say. Put it in the comments. Look forward to keeping engaged with you guys. We've got the combine this week. Let's see what kind of rumors start flying around. I think the Breece thing will get settled relatively quickly. But they've got other things they've got to figure out too. You got the Justin Fields issue. I think obviously he'll get cut. I don't know if it'll be quick or not. And we'll see what kind of rumors start percolating from the combine. They always are rumors and speculation, and it's always a fun part of the season for me. Because off season's the best season for the New York Jets until they prove otherwise. Anyway, guys, thanks. I appreciate it. Appreciate you tuning in, and I will see you next time.